one more question before we close out for today, and this comes from our Twitter. Do you have any fun or funny stories about Vince McMahon?
People would think I would have all kinds of stuff, but I don't. There's going to be people who don't like my answer right now. I have nothing but a great relationship. Doesn't matter what's happened recently. I've always known he's my boss, so I've never got too friendly with him. Because I knew, and which has happened, and it still doesn't change my view of him. One day, he might want to fire me. I've had an incredible, always polite, great working relationship with him. I've been very easy to work with as far as not bothering it. What do you want? Yes, thank you. And gone on. That was my attitude by the time I got to the WWE. Like a lot of whatever I did or however I felt in WCW, it had gone by the time I got to WCW, and it was just, and I was never really that way. I was never that way inclined, to be honest, but it was just what you need? Yes. And I'm happy because, again, being a top star, whereas there's a lot of people say things about me, oh, he should have been this, should have been that. I was very happy because I'd nearly lost my family because of my stupidity in 1997 and 1998. I was very happy going home, working 160, 180 days a year, going home and spending time at home with my children and my wife and not being away all the time. Because I know and I've known a lot of my friends who have ended up very rich and very miserable or losing all the families and in many cases dying. And I didn't want that. I wanted to come home a few days a week. It was the best time I ever had as far as knowing that I could actually plan things with my children. My youngest son got the best of me because my eldest two, I was away so much and always away. Whereas at least, unless I was on a European tour, I had 2.5 days a week at home all the time I was in WWE. And so we could plan things when I could never do that before. As once I was away for 9 months from my family. 9 months I was away from her. Right? So when I came to the WWE, when I came back in 2000, I had a conversation with Mr. McMahon, and he said, when I've got a good role for you, you'll be in it. And if you look at my career, I was in some incredibly memorable roles. Incredibly memorable, mostly entertaining, but memorable roles.
For sure.
There's been loads of world champions, you can't even remember them. People remember a lot of the stuff that I did because it was entertaining, and I was happy to do that. I love doing that stuff. And he said, and we shook hands, and he said, and when I haven't got anything for you, you'll always be working on live his house shows at the time. Always be, and that was always the case. So there was never any reason for me not to. That was our working relationship. Always polite, always got on with each other. Never ever has he raised his voice to me. It doesn't matter what I've done, because anything that's come my way, I've took it on the chin. I've never blamed anybody for it, even when sometimes it's blatantly not my fault. Something's happened and I've just gone, yes, boss. That, and I've just took it and moved on. And then he's gone, okay, do this next time. And never ever, but I've always known he could fire me. So I've never, but we've spent a lot of time waiting to film things. We did a lot of on-screen stuff together, and we always just had a laugh. We always had a laugh. I was always telling him old filthy gags or, just like, and we just laugh. And it wasn't me trying to put it, we just laughed. But I was his least of his problems. Just turn up, professional, do my job. What you need, boss? Yep. Can you put him over? Yep. Can you work with him? Yes. Can you get this character over for me? Yes. Thank you. Occasionally asked for a bit of guidance because I didn't know what the character or where he needed to go. Can you give me that? Yep. Can you do this? Yep. And that was it. And so the only thing that comes to mind is it was myself, I think it was me and Al Snow were trying to buy for Mr. McMahon's attention to become the commissioner. I believe that's the scene. It was early on in my run in WWE. Yeah, 2000 or 2001. And there were little people is the correct term now. Dwarfs were brought in, and I believe they were with Al. The week before, or either the week after, one of them, I tried to pick him up. If you see me at WrestleMania 17, I picked one up the week before, and he punched me right in the eye, and I have a black eye in WrestleMania 17, and it was from a little person. As I picked him up to do something, he just went, punched me in the face and blacked my eye. But we were doing a backstage thing in Mr. McMahon's office, and Al was there, and all of a sudden, I had great trust with him and free reign to this is a scenario, just react. And so there might have been a few lies, but he trusted me to just do me. And he just did him. And we had some incredible on-screen chemistry. And all of a sudden I opened the door and all these little people run through my legs, and me just ad-libbing, I went, oh, there must be a circus in town. And as I said it, he started laughing and I started laughing, and we were both a bit, again, it's that professional thing. We were both a bit, for half a second, looked at each other like we're like, oh, because we're one take people.
Right.
But then we just all started laughing, and Al was laughing, except for the dwarfs.
Oh no.
And they're looking at me like I've dropped out of a dog's backside. Like they're just like, our life's not bad enough, and you're making jokes at our expense, kind of thing. And that was about the funniest story, because everything else, whatever we did, it was wonderful. And we had wonderful chemistry, and it was just boom. And we didn't have to think twice about it. There was no, what do you need? Boom. And we did it, and it was one take, and it was out. And so I never got into in-depth conversations I was never trying to sell myself to him. The couple of times I went in and said, look, boss, I think I could do this or do that, or, have you got anything for me? If I didn't feel like I was wasn't doing anything, but it was very rarely. And it sort of went from there. It was very rare that happened. But it was just a very professional relationship. But I also, familiarity breeds contempt. And there's a lot of people go, oh, they get upset because they leave and they thought we were friends. No, he's your boss. He should be friends with you, but you gotta, you can be to a degree. It's a different thing with Triple H. We can't help because we were friends before I worked for him. And the same with Stephanie. We get on great. I was part of their wedding thing, but I'm still, if they tell me what to do, I do it because I work for them. But with Mr. McMahon, he's my boss, and we can have a little laugh and a joke now and then. But I know there's a day, and it's happened recently. It's time to go, and there's no hard feelings there because that's business. And there'll never be any hard feelings, and I'll always have a loyalty, not in a way that I'm not going to explain it, but without his okay, I would have died in 1999. So I owe him my life. When I had my neck surgery, It was his, whether he might not have even known, but it was his company that paid to me to get the best surgeon, the only surgeon in the world who could do the surgery that I needed. And because and Dr. Maroon, who was their doctor, said, "Look, this fella, I can't do this surgery and make it good for you. You'll be solid like that, because that's what 4 discs is. I have a completely flexible neck because they got the best surgeon and the only surgeon who could do this certain operation in the world for me. So you're not going to hear a bad word about him from me."
Mm. Yeah, that kind of gesture means a lot. It goes a long way. And this has been a fantastic Q&A, our first ever Q&A with
Yeah,
William Regal. And you guys asked some great questions. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. You can follow Mr. Regal at Real King Regal and me at Matt Coon Music.
I
And
apologize if I don't answer back because I don't go on there that much.
no, Mr. Regal gets in and gets out on social media. He gets in, he
Yeah,
says something about music, and then he gets
and
out,
I'm out. Yeah.
which is probably the best way to do it, I think, probably, right?